Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Redux Tutorial, Lesson 6, Asynchronous Actions with Redux Thunk. This tutorial covers asynchronous actions in Redux, specifically using the popular middleware Redux Thunk. Asynchronous actions are crucial when you need to interact with external APIs, perform time-consuming operations, or deal with data that isn't immediately available. Redux Thunk allows you to dispatch actions that are functions, providing a clean and maintainable way to handle these asynchronous tasks. Table of Contents *. 1. Why asynchronous actions are necessary. 2. What is Redux Thunk? 3. Setting up Redux Thunk in your Redux application. 4. Creating asynchronous action creators. 5. Implementing the API call. 6. Handling loading states. 7. Handling success and failure. 8. Dispatching actions based on API response. 9. Integrating with React components. 10. Example project structure. 11. Complete code example. 12. Advanced topics, Thunk arguments and error handling. 13. Alternatives to Redux Thunk, Redux Saga, Redux Observable. 14. Best practices. 15. Conclusion. 1. Why asynchronous actions are necessary. Redux is designed around a predictable and synchronous data flow. This means that when you dispatch an action, the reducer immediately updates the state. However, many real-world applications need to interact with external resources like APIs. These interactions are inherently asynchronous. For instance, fetching data from a server takes time, and you don't want to block the UI while waiting for the response. Without a mechanism to handle asynchronous operations, you'd be forced to perform API calls directly within your React components, leading to component bloat. Mixing UI logic with data fetching logic makes components harder to understand and maintain. Lack of centralized state management. API responses need to be stored and managed, and doing this locally within components can lead to inconsistencies and difficulty in sharing data across the application. Difficulty testing. Testing components with embedded API calls is more complex. 2. What is Redux Thunk? Redux Thunk is a middleware for Redux that allows you to write action creators that return a function instead of a plain object. This function receives the dispatch and getState methods as arguments. Here's how it works. 1. Dispatch a function. Instead of an object normally, you dispatch an object, a plain action, to trigger a state update. With Redux Thunk, you dispatch a function. 2. Thunk intercepts the function *. The Redux Thunk middleware intercepts this function. 3. Function execution *. Redux Thunk executes the function. 4. Access to dispatch and getState *. Within this function, you have access to dispatch regular actions, and getState, to access the current Redux state. 5. Asynchronous operations *. This is where you perform your asynchronous tasks, such as making API calls. 6. Dispatch regular actions *. After the asynchronous operation is complete, you dispatch regular Redux actions, plain objects, to update the state based on the results of the operation. In essence, Redux Thunk allows you to delay dispatching actions until after an asynchronous operation is complete. This decouples the dispatching of actions from the immediate state updates, making it ideal for managing asynchronous data flows. 3. Setting up Redux Thunk in your Redux application. First, you need to install Redux Thunk. Next, you need to apply the middleware to your Redux store. This is typically done when you create the store using Create Store, or Configure Store in Redux Toolkit. Explanation ***. Apply middleware, Thunk, asterisk this applies the Redux Thunk middleware to your store. It's what makes the magic happen. Apply middleware is a function from the Redux library. Asterisk configure store, Redux toolkit. This is the recommended way to create the Redux store. It automatically sets up several middlewares, including Redux Thunk when you use get default middleware. You can customize the middleware by concatenating Thunk to the array returned by get default middleware. Asterisk root reducer asterisk this is your combined reducer function, which combines all your individual reducers. 4. Creating asynchronous action creators. This is where the core of using Redux Thunk lies. Instead of returning a plain action object, you return a function from your action creator. This function will be executed by Redux Thunk when the action is dispatched. Let's consider an example of fetching user data from an API. Explanation asterisk. Asterisk action types asterisk fetch underscore users underscore request, fetch underscore users underscore success, and fetch underscore users underscore failure are string constants that represent the different states of the API call, loading, success, and failure. Using constants helps prevent typos and makes your code more maintainable. Asterisk action creators, plain objects fetch users request, fetch users success, and fetch users failure are regular action creators that return plain JavaScript objects. These objects have a type property, required by Redux, and optionally a payload property to carry data. Asterisk asynchronous action creator, fetch users. Asterisk this is the function that returns another function. This inner function is the Thunk. Asterisk it receives dispatch as an argument. Asterisk dispatch, fetch users request, asterisk the first thing it does is dispatch the fetch users request action. This signals that the API call has started, and you can update your UI to reflect a loading state. Asterisk fetch, https://json placeholder.typicode.com/users, asterisk this is the actual API call using the fetch API, or any other HTTP client like Axios. This is an asynchronous operation. Asterisk then, response equals, asterisk after the API call completes successfully, returns a promise, you handle the response. Check for errors based on response status codes. Asterisk then, data equals dispatch, fetch users success, data, asterisk if the API call is successful, you dispatch the fetch users success action, passing the received data as the payload. Asterisk catch, error equals dispatch, fetch users failure, error.message, asterisk if the API call fails, you dispatch the fetch users failure action, passing the error message as the payload. 5. Implementing the API call. In the example above, we used the fetch API. You can use any HTTP client library that you prefer, such as Axios or SuperAgent. The key is that the operation is asynchronous and uses promises. Here's an example using Axios. Make sure you install Axios if you choose to use it. 6. Handling loading states. It's essential to provide visual feedback to the user while the API call is in progress. You can use the fetch users request action to set a loading state in your Redux store. Explanation asterisk loading, false in initial state asterisk the initial state sets loading to false because we're not initially fetching data. Asterisk fetch users request asterisk when this action is dispatched, the reducer updates the state to set loading to true. This indicates that the API call is in progress. It also clears any previous errors. Asterisk fetch users success asterisk when this action is dispatched, the reducer sets loading to false because the API call has completed successfully. It updates the user's array with the data from the payload and clears any previous errors. Asterisk fetch underscore users underscore failure asterisk when this action is dispatched, the reducer sets loading to false because the API call has failed. It clears the user's array, since no data was fetched, and stores the error message in the error property. 7. Handling success and failure. The reducer also needs to handle the fetch underscore users underscore success and fetch underscore users underscore failure actions to update the state with the received data or error messages, respectively. This is shown in the user reducer example above. 8. Dispatching actions based on API response. The asynchronous action creator is responsible for dispatching the appropriate actions based on the API response. This ensures that the Redux store is updated with the correct data or error information. This is demonstrated in the fetch users action creator example. 9. Integrating with React components. Now, you can connect your React components to the Redux store and dispatch the asynchronous action to fetch the user data. You'll use asElector to access the state and use dispatch to dispatch actions. Explanation asterisk. Asterisk use dispatch asterisk this hook is used to get the dispatch function, which you use to dispatch actions to the Redux store. Asterisk use asElector asterisk this hook is used to select data from the Redux store. State equals state.user accesses the user slice of the Redux state, assuming your reducer is named user. Asterisk use effect asterisk this hook is used to perform side effects, such as fetching data. The use effect hook runs after the component mounts. The empty dependency array ensures that the effect runs only once, when the component mounts. Dispatch is added as a dependency to suppress the ESLint warning. Asterisk dispatch, fetch users, asterisk this dispatches the asynchronous fetch users action when the component mounts. Asterisk conditional rendering asterisk the component renders different content based on the loading and error states. Asterisk if loading is true, it displays loading users. Asterisk if error is not null, it displays an error message. Asterisk otherwise, it displays the list of users. 10. Example project structure. A typical Redux project structure with Redux Thunk might look like this. 11. Complete code example. Here's a complete, runnable example combining all the code snippets above. First create a new React app. Then install the dependencies. Replace the contents of src/app.js with this. Then create a src/store.js file with. Create src/actions/useractions.js with. Create src/reducers/userreducer.js with. Create src/components/userlist.js with. Now you can run the app. This will fetch a list of users from the JSON placeholder API and display them in your React component. You will see loading users while the data is being fetched. 12. Advanced topics, Thunk arguments and error handling. Asterisk Thunk arguments asterisk you can pass arguments to your asynchronous action creators. These arguments are then available within the Thunk function. This allows you to parameterize your API calls. Asterisk error handling asterisk implement robust error handling within your asynchronous action creators. This might involve checking HTTP status codes, logging errors, and providing user-friendly error messages. It is good practice to handle specific error cases and provide appropriate feedback to the user. For example, you might want to retry the API call after a certain delay. Also, you should consider creating more descriptive error messages that are helpful for debugging. 13. Alternatives to Redux Thunk, Redux Saga, Redux Observable. While Redux Thunk is a simple and effective solution for many asynchronous use cases, there are other more powerful alternatives. Redux Saga Redux Saga uses ES6 generators to make side effects easier to manage, more efficient to execute, easy to test, and better at handling failures. Sagas are like separate threads in your application that are solely responsible for handling side effects. They are more complex to set up than Redux Thunk, but they offer more flexibility and control, especially for complex asynchronous workflows like handling WebSockets, coordinating multiple API calls, or implementing complex retry logic. Redux Observable Redux Observable uses RxJS, reactive extensions for JavaScript, to compose asynchronous actions using streams. It provides powerful operators for transforming and combining actions, making it suitable for handling complex asynchronous data flows like real-time updates or event-driven applications. Like Redux Saga, it has a steeper learning curve than Redux Thunk. The choice of which middleware to use depends on the complexity of your application and the type of asynchronous operations you need to handle. 14. Best practices. Separate concerns. Keep your action creators focused on dispatching actions and handling asynchronous operations. Avoid putting UI logic or complex calculations in your action creators. The reducer should be a pure function that only updates the state based on the action. Use meaningful action types. Choose action types that clearly describe the purpose of the action. Handle loading and error states. Provide feedback to the user while data is loading or if an error occurs. Centralize API logic. Create a separate module or service to handle your API calls. This makes your code more modular and easier to test. Test your asynchronous actions. Write unit tests to ensure that your asynchronous action creators are working correctly. You can use mocking libraries to mock the API calls and verify that the correct actions are dispatched. 15. Conclusion. Redux Thunk provides a straightforward and effective way to handle asynchronous actions in Redux applications. By allowing you to dispatch functions instead of plain objects, you can manage API calls, loading states, and error handling in a clean and organized manner. By following best practices and considering alternatives like Redux Saga or Redux Observable for more complex scenarios, you can build robust and maintainable Redux applications that interact with external APIs and manage asynchronous data flows effectively. Remember to handle loading and error states for a better user experience. Good luck.